Good morning. Heading to a meeting with business partner, business partner of mine in the wholesale dealership, auto dealership that I'm developing, and it brought to mind partnerships, agreements, relationships, and just being aware of where each party stands, making sure that you're on the same page, and getting that in writing, and then also uh, getting leverage on that commitment and how important that is in any relationship. So one thing that I've learned in my massive failures in the business world, consulting world, sales world is anybody can say anything. Like, words are easy. Actions have always spoke louder than words. And with that said, what I've learned the hard way, because I am a very trusting person, I'm a genuine person, I believe in people. When somebody tells me, I want to do this thing, and they come to me, and most people come to me, why I started a consulting company, because they have this desire to accomplish something or understand something that they have not been able to figure out themselves, and they see me as a person who gets results, who takes action and realizes ideas and dreams and goals and objectives, etc., which I am, and I'm proud of that. I stand by that. It's a part of my core values is, if you say you're going to do a thing, do it. I have not been 100% with that. But the other caveat is, if you can't do something, then communicate it. And I have gotten better and better at being 100% on that over my life. And it has served me very well. And internally has allowed me to make a lot of hard decisions and do a lot of very difficult things with the understanding and acceptance that that is a choice that I'm making, because that is the best decision for me or the situation that we're in, and that may involve many people. And so the point of this message will start with a story. The story is, I had a friend, still have a friend, but had a friend who was in the food cart business. That's the simplest way I can say it. It was much more than that. They were netting like $1 million a year, going to state fairs and festivals and things like that, selling a shish kebab. And then the most important thing about this was the marinade that they marinated the shish kebab in. It was delicious. It was so good. And everybody knew of this company. Such a profound name. Yet the owner, who is also my friend, I had met in a leadership and coaching program back in about 2017. And after meeting me, he had said, man, my father always wanted to expand this marinade into the mainstream retail market. Because at this point, for the most part, they only utilized the marinade on their shish kebabs that they sold at these events. And they wanted to put this as a retail product and sell the marinade alone. And he had come to me probably 8-9 years ago and said, man, I really want to do this thing. How can we do this? So I thought about it. I'd never been in grocery before, or food retail, whatever, but I'm in business development. I am in the, if there's a will, there's a way, business. I get shit done. And so it was exciting to me, because this was a development thing. Like, I get to be a part of something and grow something. And I have this very, very extreme desire to do things that are beyond what other people think are possible. And I think, again, that's a compelling thing for other people to come to me. And that can be a downfall sometimes, but I love it. It's my passion. And so he comes to me, he says, hey, let's do this thing. Well, I talked to him for a while, kept dragging his feet, and then a few months went by, and then he just kind of fell off the communication, and so I left it be. About 2.5 years ago, he came back to me, forwarded me an email of him reaching out to a consultant in a marketing company about the same thing and reached out to me 5-6 years prior, and forwarded to me and said, hey, can I get your thoughts? And so he forwarded it to an email I hadn't used for my business purposes for a really long time. But I found it, and I said, hey, man, did you mean to send this to me? He said, yes, I wanted you to review it and get your thoughts. I said, well, Martin, my thoughts are, why didn't you come back to me, man? Like, now you want to spend all this money with these people, and you want to engage with them. Like, I was ready to go, and I'm still very excited about this endeavor because I think, one, you have a great, incredible product that serves people well. People really enjoy it and they gravitate to it. And I would love to be a part of expanding that, and I'm kind of disappointed that you didn't come to me about that first. He said, well, they're connected with my significant other, his wife, and she does some marketing with them. And I said, okay, but they're going to do marketing, but what's their implementation plan, right? So this is kind of a side note, but it's extremely important here. Marketing does not sell your product, okay? Marketing is a tool to enhance, the viability of your product, the knowledge, raise awareness of your product, and then, draw attention to places where you can sell your product. But you still have to have a conversion process. There's a lot of logistics and things like that. Most people don't understand that. They think they can just post online, and so I ran through my spiel from my experience in developing businesses and things of that nature. And so ultimately he went with me. And I said, I've got another good contract that I'm working on right now. It's paying me some money. Why don't we just test this market out before you commit to it so you can see that it's real? Because I also didn't know my way around retail or anything of that nature. And so I was like, I'm going to take on this endeavor because I'm excited about this opportunity to get into this world and blow this marinade up and see what I can do. So I basically did a contract that he would not sign. I sent him several proposals and contracts. He kept dragging his feet. And so I thought, well, I'm going to go get to work. I'm going to prove this thing out because I was passionate about it. And so what I did was I started going and knocking doors, calling retailers, knocking doors, reaching out to connections to just pull threads. I always call it pulling threads. You always pull threads to see which one gives, and then you pull that one as much as you can, and then move on to the next one so that you can continue to develop more, footholds in whatever vertical you're wanting to grow in. And so I did that. And so long story short, in 4 months, I got him 26 locations, and had them ordering his marinade. Now, the caveat to that is that we've got to move forward and sign a contract with a distribution company because one of the contracts that I got him was a large retailer that had stores in Indiana of that 26. And they had 96 stores from Michigan to Florida. What an opportunity. Again, this is the type of things that I'm able to generate through the habits that I have and the actions that I take. And I did. I got it and I set it up, and he just wouldn't sign the contract and kept dragging his feet. And they were actually in the same distribution center as Kroger. And the main guy, or their national director for this retail grocer, said that if you get in there and we start moving your product, Kroger is going to jump on you and ask you to put your product in their store. And so Kroger has about 2,700 stores, and at this time they were about to acquire another food chain, and I can't remember which one it was, but basically give them a monopoly on grocery, essentially. And it would have put them up to like 7,500 stores. So I'm like, man, this is the opportunity to get in. And I'm telling the owner, like, man, this is the time to move. Like, don't drag your feet. Now, I sold cases, and I was getting 15% of each bottle that was sold. but there wasn't high volume yet. It was 26 stores, but they were ordering a couple cases a month. I wasn't even charging a retainer. So anyway, we're going into to move forward into this company, although he's dragging his feet. So I sent him this proposal because he's like, hey, I really want to see what this thing looks like. He was impressed, but still wanted to continue to ask questions, etc. Even though I am achieving the goal that he told me he wanted. Long story short, I sent him over a proposal. It was for 150 to do his marketing, his website, that was going to continue to manage teams that would go out and expand this thing throughout the country and managing the ordering, etc., beyond anything the distribution company was giving. That's cheap, guys. That's cheap. Also, I would be maintaining my 15% per bottle. And so, again, if I'm selling hundreds of thousands of cases, I'm making a lot of money, but my retainer was only for like 158,000. So he's saying, I don't know if I can afford that. My family, they depend on this money, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm thinking, dude, I just showed you that I got you 26 stores in 4 months. I'm about to connect you to 96 stores, and they're going to be selling 4 to 5 cases a month. That's a lot. That's a big win. That's a great step in the right direction in less than 4 months, especially for a company that's never been in the market before for retail, and a guy my company, Livish, had never done this before to generate these kind of results. My mom was in food service for 40 years, said she had guys that had been doing this for 40 years that had never landed some of the contracts with the grocers that I had got. Those entities, they could never break into them. I did it in 4 months with no knowledge, no experience in retail grocery. So that was phenomenal, right? That's not an ego thing. That was like, this is great. We have a great opportunity. And so I spoke to Martin about that. And I said, hey, this is a great time to jump on this thing. Like, what more do you need? I did the data, the market research, and showed him all the projections, and he just couldn't see it. He said, I really need to buy 5 trucks. They're $350,000 a piece. I said, okay, don't buy 1 truck. Actually, I even said, hey, listen, let me help you turn your trucking company into a transport company, and you'll be tax exempt for the state of Indiana. I can save you my contract times 3 on taxation if you allow me to help you put those trucks into, and all the other 20 that he had, into a transport company. And he thought, oh, well, that's interesting. And he saw that as valuable. But I said, just save 1 truck. I'll pay it back in 9 months by the contract that I'm putting together for you. And I said, in 3 years, you're going to be making millions of dollars a month on this product based off our current growth and some of the relationships that we were already in engagement with. Now, I had not charged a retainer at this time. He had paid me, I think, a few $1,000s. It may have been $3,000 or $4,000 at this point, because we were not selling a lot of cases at this point. We only had 26 stores, but we were about to go to 96, and then we were actually in conversations with getting with Kroger. And so that would open us up to 2,700 stores, and also was working to deal with TJ Maxx to put in their retail stores, across the country. They were going to order 1,400 cases a month, a rip off the first deal. And so all these things are lining up, and he couldn't see it to pay me, because originally I think I was at like 15 grand a month, and I knocked it all the way down to like 5,500 or like $11,000 a month. But that's to do all his marketing, oversee the logistics and the business development, etc. And he didn't want to do it. He just backed out of it. He just said, no, I just can't do it. He didn't see it. He said, I just don't see your vision here, is what he told me towards the end of it. I was prepared to cover his investment 50% if I could not attain the goals. My wife and I, through Livish, we're going to take out a business loan to guarantee 50% of his investment in return for partnership, a higher partnership, of course, but guarantee 50% of his investment. I believed in this so much, and I could see the potential in it. He still wouldn't do it. So with all that said, very sad story, because I could have set his family's up for life if he would have just invested in me, believed in me. And so there is a difference. Investing in you and believing you are two different things. Anyone can have an idea about a thing, but when they actually have to make a financial commitment or a time commitment, an energy commitment, a spiritual commitment to you, the game. So, back, back to the live. I'm glad that it didn't cut off. Anyway, so he didn't believe it, and he said to me again that he didn't see my vision. And at that point, I thought, man, this isn't my vision at all. You came to me and said you wanted to 10x this thing, and I'm about to 1,000x this thing. And I thought, man, how that shifted. He put that back on me like I was trying to persuade him to do something that he didn't want to do. Shame on me for not making sure the alignment was there. I took it as a friend endeavor for his business and that I was doing something right by his family. And that's not how he took it. And that's unfortunate because, again, he came to me twice over those years and said, man, I'm so ready. I want to do this thing. I want you to head it up. I know that you can do it. I want to change the lives of my family. I want to change the life of my staff. And he didn't allow me to do it. And I don't know what it was, lack of business savvy, lack of understanding of maybe some of the higher level things that I was presenting to him. But either way, he didn't do it. And, man, that's a shame because he really just passed up on once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So for me, it's disappointing to see someone pass up on something so good that was so laid out and so perfect. Like you couldn't have had a better result. I mean, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be partnered up with these type of companies and then be flowing that well and, have all the logistics set up. I mean, I really just did a bang-up job, which is great, and I'm happy about that because I learned a lot. That was a success to me, even though I didn't land the retainer. And so all that to be said to the thing that I really learned from that is that if people don't have skin in the game, if people aren't prepared to invest in you financially, physically, mentally, whether that be by a contract, and you better make that contract very clear and ruthless to the fact that it shows that you are the one that is protected in the event that you earn something of value for the partner, the client, at their request. That's all. Like, I don't like malicious contracts that hurt owners and things like that, but I do like contracts that scare people away from partnering with me because they're worried about how much they're going to pay me or that I'll audit their books to make sure that they're paying me what they told me they were going to pay me. Again, it all just protects my efforts and the value that I put in because they asked me to do so. Like, I didn't come after them. I don't hard sell or come after anybody in my consulting business. I will never do that. I did it at the start, but I realized that, like, I don't want anybody who's not invested in the goal. I'm not going to try to persuade you to live your own dreams and realize those directions. So I didn't miss my turn here. But anyway, so always make sure you get an ironclad contract that protects your efforts and the payment or return on your investment in the company or the client that has requested you do work for them. That's all you're asking. And the other thing is always get a financial commitment. Never do anything for free. Never do anything for free that someone says, I want you to do this. Because if they're not willing to invest up front, especially if you have to expense your own money, then they are not in it to win it, period. If they're not going to be working right alongside of you, supplying you resources, supplying you access to things that help you get them their results, then you have to get money up front. You have to get a retainer. I would get at least 90 days, and then I would get at least a 60-day cancellation term, especially when you're working on development contracts. And here's the thing. All it does is protect your integrity, and it protects their integrity. And it protects the integrity of the businesses that you're going to be creating relationships with on their behalf. Like, how embarrassing and just what a letdown that it is that all these major professionals and executives and administrators that you know, gave me an opportunity with this company, and all of a sudden the owner of the company puts a kibosh to all of it because he lacks the clarity or the ambition to move forward. So all these things were set into play, and he quashed the deal. He's the one that instigated the deal. So if we had contracts in place and we had proper clarification on how much time you need to give to be able to dissolve a relationship, and like what the consequences of that, and what the terms of that are, you're going to protect yourself and the other people, because it's not just about you and your client. It's also about the partners, the clients, the strategic partners that you end up developing in this endeavor. So again, guys always have contracts. If somebody is not investing heavily, when they ask you to do something for them to support you, whether that's physically by their efforts or time or resources or money, do not get into the game with them. They are not committed. They are not committed because they will not commit. They will not commit. They will not invest. If something doesn't have to come from them, that is a cost to them in one fashion or the other. They are not committed. They're going to hope that you do all these things for them, and then those are the first people that, just to be blunt, are going to screw you in the end on your efforts, and you're not going to get a return on your investments like you thought you were. So just be smart when you're doing that. And again, if somebody doesn't want to participate with you and they don't want to invest in you, you shouldn't partner with them anyway, because that's going to be a bad result, inevitably, almost guaranteed. All right, guys, that was a lot of story there, but really profound story in my life that hit me pretty hard on top of some other things all at the same time. That gave me that realization that, listen, if I put a contract in front of you that protects me based off the efforts that I make and the return that you're supposed to pay me, and gives me the access to be able to check, to make sure, to audit you and make sure that you're paying me, and you won't sign it, I already know that we aren't in it to win it together. Stay lavish, guys.